Welcome to Free Range Sailing. For those of you that are new here, I'm Pascal and this is Troy. For the last 4 years and 180 episodes, we've circumnavigated Australia, culminating with a very demanding year refitting our 1969 Australian-built Clansman 30 sloop-rigged yacht and sailing her across the Great Australian Bight. Now we've returned to our home state, we're taking the time to explore some of the places we didn't get the chance to see as much of before. Join us each week for more great sailing, fishing and adventure as we cruise the West Australian coast. Last week's episode saw us saying goodbye to the Abrolhos Islands and racing an approaching strong weather system to seek shelter in Shark Bay, where we find ourselves now.
Here we go, some more windy weather. It was so windy before I stuck my head out, look, blew all my whiskers away. We had that quick race up the coast and we got ourselves in behind Ransonet Point here. It's not ideal. Because we're in a large open bay, we do have some surge entering in here at the moment. I'm shooting this on a gimbal camera so you can sort of see that things are rock and rolling. It's not too bad. We're getting the advantage of having our full keel. If you've ever moved your hand through water, you'll know that like quite lateral resistance is what we're getting the benefit of. So we don't have really high performance, but when it comes time to like sort of swing around like this, that big keel sweeping through the water is helping to keep us a bit stable. The other nice thing is swell's coming from every direction. So instead of synchronizing and setting up an uncomfortable roll, we're getting sort of a bob up and down, which isn't too bad. It just feels like we're on a boat, which we are. So we'll stash ourselves away here for another couple of days. The wind, as a big low pressure system's going down the coast, it's going to swing more from the east into the north, so we've got good protection around here. And then the payoff will be that as the low goes, we'll have about a week of really nice weather here, so we plan to make the most of that. But at the moment, we're just going to have to sit it out. One thing, once again, because the wind is so strong, the wind generator shut itself off. All right, so it's not making any power. So one of the things to consider with wind generators, particularly with the AirX, I can't speak for many others, but some of them, you're either going to have to shut it down in strong winds or it'll shut itself off to protect itself. That means no power. So we've got this big low coming, which means the sky's very overcast, which means no solar. And the wind is too strong for our wind generator, so that means no wind power. So again, that's 2 or 3 days where we have to sort of just suck it up with no wind, with no energy coming in, and that's when we benefit from having like a 200 amp hour bank, a big battery bank. It's heavy, we have to cart it around, but for those days when we want to eat it down, it's pretty good. Wind generator's just kicked in as the wind's eased. It won't last long.
Stormy weather is always a great opportunity to get some editing done, although sometimes we do go a little stir crazy. After a very restless night, it was like we were anchored in a completely different place. The crisp blue water had turned into a milky soup, Marul was covered with spray, and a significant sea had begun to develop in the bay.
out the rogue splashes.
The anchoring road that we've used for years circumnavigating Australia is 30 metres of chain spliced directly to 14mm nylon 3-strand rope. In virtually every instance we put out all of the chain and vary the length of rope depending on the amount of shock absorption the conditions demand. Here you can see Troy has whipped some black cord at the 10-metre mark of the anchor road so that I know how much we've put out.
Sometimes you get to sit out really bad weather really comfortably, but this one we just have to be content with sitting it out. So we had to, we knew that last spot we had to abandon. Hey, Basky.
Yep.
So, and I knew that was going to be the case as the wind shifted, so we were sort of ready for it. We knew that it would be happening this morning. I didn't know it was going to happen for a cocky though. It's bad. But we're here now, and now the wind is hopefully going to go around to the west and we can sneak around Ransonet Point to the other side. I went to have a look there before, and the outgoing tide and the wind, Marule's little engine, a 16 horsepower, couldn't push against the tide and the 30 knots of wind. So we just tucked in here. There is nowhere else. It's one of those spots though where you've got meeting waves coming from here, wind against tide, all sorts of shenanigans and confusion. But again, it's not, the boat's not doing this one so heavily, it's just doing sort of that. So there's a little power boat over there and he's sort of doing these ones, so hopefully that guy's not aboard and he's camping ashore because that's not very much fun. But it's only for today. We have to put up with this. It might be a reading day.
If you watched my birthday episode, you'd know that we had a bit of a bug infestation in our supply of buckwheat. However, I found another bag of bug-free buckwheat flour stashed away at the bottom of the pantry, which I used to prepare us this hearty breakfast. Well, I've perfected my buckwheat pancake recipe. This one's just buckwheat flour and water to make really thin crepes. They're called galettes in France and they're savoury crepes. We filled them with a Swiss aged cheese and some Italian prosciutto, so it's pretty exciting. And I've got my French opinel knife out for the occasion.
Ooh, number 9?
Number 8.
Number 8.
I'm going to dine with that. I'm not sure if the ham will break easily or not, so I'll use my knife. Which one first? Ooh la la! Jambon fromage. C'est très bon. The following day we traded wind for rain and had favourable tides to motor around Cape Ransonet into the inside of Dirk Hartog Island.
Hopefully it goes all day. Oh!
So quite a cloudy day has turned into a rather sunny day. We've got welcome swallows.
A nice
Checking
Sunday.
us
We're
out.
just waiting for one to come swooping through the boat. He came pretty close before. Yeah, we got rain. We got rain before, so we caught. I don't know. We probably caught about 8 litres of nice rainwater there. So that's a good score. Now I've got all the solar panels arrayed. So I think we're making. We had overcast conditions. It was pretty terrible, but we are now making 11 amps.
Wow, that's great.
So it's double what we would, isn't it? The blanket out. Like there's not much. There's a lot of clouds out there, so it's not ideal. Yeah, the sun is behind clouds, and we're still making 11 amps. We've been doing that for about 3 hours now. So, no, 2 hours. 20 amp hours.
Pretty good.
Pretty good. The panels by themselves out there before, they were only making about 4 amps. So it would have taken quite a long time. We'll probably, I'm waiting for the water to clear, and then we'll use the water maker, and I'll top this up.
Mm-hmm.
Can I do that? Can I make noise?
Was the water clear yet?
I think it'll be alright.
It got tossed up in all that northerly weather.
Yeah. It's not the best, but the pre-filter will sort it out.
Oh!
That one's really close.
Oh, one's little Betsy. Fishing rod's the pot to be.
Well, there we go. The worst of the weather's passed us by. But according to our friends Terry and Christine, who did the cruising guide that we're perusing while we cruise around Shark Bay.
A small boat cruising guide to Shark Bay.
Yeah, there you go.
We'll put the link below if you're interested, if you're coming this way.
It's not a bad little cruising guide, but when we were looking at that, it said that June and July are the wettest months in Shark Bay, and we can believe it. We've collected a bit of water. So what we're going to do is we'll knock around here for a couple more days, but we're going to keep going north. And the reason being is we can come back here in the spring and the start of summer, and the weather will be much nicer. I think the water will be a bit clearer, and the whales will be returning, coming south with their calves, so we've got a greater chance of seeing all that. The water at the moment's really, really cloudy. That low that went through just stirred everything right up, you know, so diving's out at the moment. And I can't see it really cleaning up for another week or so, and that's time that we don't really want to spare. So we're going to just do a few more things and then sail north and keep going.
Sail to the warmth.
And then we'll come on back to Shark Bay, give it its due.
But we'll go have a look ashore now, like this afternoon, and see what it's about here.
Yeah, no, I didn't mean go right now.
What happened?
It finally went. After 4 years, it finally went, and now we have our spare. So thank you, Chris. I hope you're watching. You just look, got that straight on.
How did you know it was the propeller? Because we were getting no drive?
Yeah, because the engine suddenly went up in revs, but we weren't going forward at the same speed, so...
So the old anything can be a hammer trick.
It is a little bit. Trying to use the old spit cleaning trick instead of a brand new one. It's a bit of a wicked thing of me, isn't it? I'll get a new one later on. Everyone knows how that story ends. Being able to lay your outboard down like this is one of the reasons why two-stroke engines are so beloved by so many people, including myself, even though they're outlawing them now for pollution regulations. When we went into Fremantle, I knew I'd been looking at this propeller and the various missing bits out of it, so it wasn't operating at best efficiency, was it? She's not all that she's not that sharp looking anymore, and rough, you know, like props are nice when they're smooth. It's been a long time since this is smooth, but I think we replaced that in Torres Straits. Pasky, how long ago was that?
I think we just fixed it in Torres Straits.
No,
Oh,
we
we
fixed
got a
it in
brand
the
new one.
Kimberley. See,
Oh.
there's no tech screw.
Oh, okay.
No tech screw in that one. But the problem being, I'll have to put a screw in that, just so we've got a spare until I can get another one. Because 2 is 1 and 1 is none. So we've got
So Torres Straits, that was about 3 years ago.
Is it? Mm-hmm. It's pretty good going for a little outboard. I reckon that'll do it.
Well, it's quite weedy and it's quite stinky. So we're going to move back onto the beach. We're seeing our first turtles here at Shark Bay. It's been a while since we've seen turtles and it's really nice. Actually a little bit of a nursery here. We've seen quite a few. Lots of stingrays, lots of shovel-nose rays and lots of sharks. We even saw a hammerhead shark earlier as well, hunting in the shallows. It was a really good size. Hopefully we see some more. What did you find there?
It's heavy, eh? It feels like a dugong bone. An Aussie version of a manatee.
Hopefully we see some.
Yeah, more than this anyway.
Yeah.
Seems like a bone.
I don't know if you could see that, but there's 3 squid. Kind of kicking ourselves we don't have a cast net or a jig to throw at them, but we might try and go for some squid tonight. I think Troy's found a crab. We'll see where he's at. Oh, there he is.
I was trying to hang on to it like a mud crab, but just threw it with the back legs and bailed.
Thought you'd found a bigger crab than that.
Little shark just there.
Yeah, this spot is much livelier than I expected. We've seen so much wildlife just in a short little walk. We've already gone like a mile up the beach.
It's nice and sheltered.
Really
look,
sheltered.
little shark's coming in again.
Yeah. Troy gets pretty excited about sharks.
Or anything.
Anything that you can see. Yeah, it doesn't feel this calm out where the boat is anchored.
I think the wind has eased as well. Those clouds aren't hooking along quite as much.
Yeah.
Look at this little turtle coming. Just there.
Oh, he's tiny. Yeah, there's lots of little turtles in here.
He's like a dinner plate size.
With favourable light winds, it was time to fly our kite to continue our journey northwards and anchor for the evening at Cape Cuvier.
So we've just come out of Cape Cuvier. There's a massive big salt loading facility there, and now we're just sailing along under like 60 metre, looks like a 60 metre cake. 60 metre like sandstone walls, you know, these big cliffs. So the wind's coming from here, there's no waves or anything. There's a lot of swell coming in, so it's like nice and rolly. But we're not wearing any spray or anything like that.
How fast are we going?
6.5. I haven't really trimmed the sails that much because we just pulled the anchor and went. So I have a close look at these rocks where all this waves are smashing into. There's a lot of mist in the air. Looks cool.
Purple or orange?
Doesn't matter. Purple.
There's some wire trace, but you don't want that, do you?
Eh?
Do you want the wire trace?
There's probably a lure with a wire trace.
There's just some loose wire trace in here.
There's like what?
Loose wire trace in here. This part of the world is definitely a very fishy place. We'd only had the fishing lure out for about 20 minutes when we caught this beautiful long-tailed tuna.
Retired. Well, we're finally in conditions where, you know, it's like what people think of when they think of sailing, I hope. It's we've got a nice easterly. We actually reefed, you know, because we're seeing about 20 something knots. So we've got a really nice easterly. To our east is land, so we're not copping any sort of waves. We've got just a gentle swell coming out of the southwest, maybe a metre and a half at the most.
So have you got one reef in the headsail?
One reef in the headsail and two in the main.
Yeah.
And we're still averaging 6
6
knots, so we don't need any more power.
And we're day sailing as well. It's really nice. We're going to get into the reef where we're going to anchor. We're going to get in at 1 o'clock. So
yeah,
never been in there before. So
from now on we're on holiday, so we're just doing day hops. This one's only like a 36 miler. Yesterday was 45 miles. We did have to do it at night to get in. But that's sort of set us up now so we can just do day hops. So, but it's really great and the scenery's great. We'll go and have a look. Look, even our stove is not even working hard. Amazing.
if you enjoyed the video, hitting the like button helps to get this video suggested to like-minded people. Thanks in advance and see you next time.